His mouth was still wet from my sweat when he lifted my leg over his shoulder and whispered, "I am not finished with you yet." My body trembled. My mind screamed that it was wrong. But my hips tilted upward. His thickness was already pushing in again. I felt him stretch me, wider than Scott ever did. I had never taken it that deep before, never been filled like that. My ring was still on. My husband was still out of town. And I had just used every hole I had to worship a man who was not my husband. Welcome to my story. To all my amazing subscribers, thank you so much for being here. You are the heartbeat of this channel. And to my new and returning viewers who have not subscribed yet, I cannot wait for you to hit that subscribe button. It is the fuel that powers this journey of raw, real, and riveting storytelling. Do not forget to drop your thoughts in the comments section. I am always reading, and I want to hear from you. Now let me take you back to the beginning of it all. My name is Claire Monroe. I am 36 years old. I live in a quiet, upper-middle-class neighborhood in Katy, Texas. I am a mother of 2 boys and I have been married to Scott for 12 years. He is handsome, stable, successful, and boring. Our love used to burn. Now, it barely flickers. We live in a 2-story home with a lawn that looks like it was copied out of a suburban magazine. From the outside, everything is perfect. But on the inside, I was dying from thirst, the kind of thirst that no wine or water could quench. Scott stopped looking at me like a woman. He touched me like I was a routine. Kissed me like a schedule. Slept with me once a month like he was crossing off a to-do list. I used to beg him to take me rougher, deeper, and longer. He would laugh and say, "Claire, we are not teenagers anymore." But I wanted to feel young. I wanted to feel claimed. Then Ray moved into the rental house next door. He was tall, black, and carved like a sculpture. Muscles like tree trunks. Bald head. Deep voice. Tattoos that peeked out from his tank tops. He was friendly with Scott but not too friendly. He greeted me with respect, but his eyes, they undressed me. The first time I saw him shirtless, mowing the lawn, my thighs squeezed together. He was everything I had not tasted. Everything I fantasized about. And he lived just 20 feet away. Weeks passed and our greetings turned into conversations. I told him I did Pilates. He said I should try lifting. He offered to train me. I pretended to be unsure, but my sports bra was already packed. That Saturday morning, Scott had left for a 3-day work trip to Miami. The kids were with my sister. I put on my tightest leggings and walked next door. He smelled like cocoa butter and sweat. His garage was converted into a gym. The door was open. The music was low. I stretched. He watched. I lifted. He guided me. I bent. He stood behind me. By the end of the 3rd set, he stood so close I could feel him hard behind me. I turned around slowly, looking up at him. My heart was hammering. My mouth opened but no words came out. He brushed a strand of hair from my face. His hand lingered. Then he kissed me. Hard. Hot. Dangerous. I kissed back. I should have stopped him. But when he lifted me onto the bench and pulled my leggings down, I could not say no. I did not want to. He buried his face between my thighs first. Said he had been dreaming about it since the first day. I moaned like a woman starved. And then he took me. Bent. Lifted. Held. Filled. I had never used every part of me before. He made sure I did. His mouth was on my chest, my neck, my toes. His hands explored like he owned me. I let him. I gave him everything. We moved from the bench to the yoga mat. From the mat to the floor. From the floor to the washing machine. I was not a wife that day. I was a woman with needs, and I met a man who knew how to feed every craving. By the time I looked at the clock, it was almost 5 p.m. I had been in his garage for 4 hours. I walked back home with jelly legs and red cheeks. My panties were still in his pocket. I left them there. That night, I cleaned up. Cooked. Sat on the couch with wine, waiting for a guilt that never came. Instead, I felt alive. Electric. Open. But deep inside, I knew the truth. Something had been awakened in me. And it would not sleep again. The morning after, I woke up in my bed, alone, sore, and soaking in a mix of shame and satisfaction. My thighs ached. My skin still tingled where his hands had been. I stared at the ceiling, thinking of how many ways I had betrayed my husband, and how many times I would do it again if I had the chance. I got up, made coffee, and tried to act normal. But nothing felt normal anymore. My body remembered everything. My reflection looked different. My lips were slightly swollen. My breasts felt heavier, bruised from the way he had gripped them. My hips had red fingerprints pressed into them like reminders. I smiled. Then I cried. It was not guilt. It was panic. Because once you open that door, the door to pleasure that does not belong to you, you cannot close it without losing something forever. Scott came home that evening. He brought the boys some souvenirs and kissed me on the cheek like a colleague. I watched him move around the kitchen, unloading his bag, totally unaware that just 24 hours earlier, I had moaned another man's name while my ring clinked against his garage floor. That night, Scott tried to have sex with me. Missionary. No eye contact. 3 minutes. I stared at the ceiling, dry, empty, pretending. I felt nothing. Not even a twitch. That was when I realized how far gone I was. And it only got worse. Ray texted me the next day. No words. Just a short video. It was a clip. Maybe 15 seconds. Me on my knees, eyes closed, moaning. My mouth around him. My wedding ring visible. I gasped. Almost dropped my phone. Then another message came in. You left your panties. Want me to return them, or earn them back? My heart raced. My brain said block him. Delete everything. Confess to Scott. Start over. But my body said yes. I did not reply. I could not. I deleted the messages and went about my day, but every time I closed my eyes, I saw him. Every time Scott touched me, I flinched. I had tasted what I should not have. And I wanted more. 3 days later, it happened again. I was coming back from yoga class when I saw him on his porch, shirtless, drinking a protein shake. He smiled. I nodded and walked faster. But when I reached my front door, a message pinged. You running from me now, Claire? I froze. Then I replied. This cannot happen again. Too late. It already did. You want it again. Your body tells the truth. Come back over. Use your words if you dare. I stared at the screen. I had never been spoken to like that before. He was bold. Rough. Direct. Scott had never spoken that way to me. Never made me feel like prey. Within 15 minutes, I was back in his garage. I told myself I would tell him off. I told myself I would reclaim my dignity. Instead, I dropped to my knees the second the door locked behind me. That day, he did not use the yoga mat. He bent me over the weight bench and made me say things I had never said before. He made me beg. He made me whimper. He made me confess that I had touched myself thinking about him every night since. He made me scream into a towel. And I let him take me in every way, in every hole, because my body was no longer mine. It belonged to a sin I could not resist. The following week, I tried to ghost him. I ignored his messages. I started avoiding the porch. But I knew it was only a matter of time. Then, one night, Scott came home early from work. He sat down at the dinner table, tense, silent. "Claire," he said, "someone sent me a file today." I froze. My fork dropped. He reached into his laptop bag and pulled out a flash drive. He held it in the air. No note. Just this. My stomach turned cold. "I have not seen what is on it yet," he said slowly, "but I think you should tell me now if there is something you need to confess." I could not speak. My throat was closing. My palms were sweating. But before I could find words, our son ran into the room, chasing the younger one with a Nerf gun, laughing and screaming. The moment was broken. Scott sighed, slipped the flash drive into his pocket, and stood. "Maybe later," he said. That was the night I realized I was not just cheating anymore, I was in danger. Ray had the videos. He had the proof. And now, someone else knew. Someone had made a move. I had no idea if it was Ray himself or someone who had seen us. Maybe one of the neighbors. Maybe a camera I never noticed. I called Ray that night. He picked up on the first ring. "Did you send it?" I whispered. He chuckled. "Send what?" "You know what I mean. The flash drive. To Scott." He paused. Then said, "No. But maybe someone else did. We were not exactly discreet, Claire. That garage door was open more than you think." My heart stopped. He continued, "You want me to make sure no more clips get out? Then do what I say." I whispered, "What do you want?" "Everything," he said. "And I mean that." Then he hung up. I sat on my bed, shaking. My husband might already know. My lover was blackmailing me. And I still felt wet when I thought about what he did to me. My marriage was falling apart. My dignity was already gone. But I could not stop. I would not stop. The morning after Ray's threat, I sat on the toilet staring at a single pink line. My period had not come. I had taken the test to silence my paranoia. But the line was faint. Not negative. Not positive. Just limbo. My phone buzzed. A message. "Ray, I want to see you tonight. Wear nothing under your dress." I tossed the phone on the floor and grabbed the edge of the sink. I was spiraling. My mind was at war with my body. My heart wanted to cry. But between my thighs, I still pulsed for him. And that was the truth I hated most. That night, I dressed in a loose black dress. No bra. No panties. Just skin. I cooked dinner for the kids, cleaned up, and waited until Scott started his late shift conference call. Then I told him I was stepping out to get air. And I walked straight into the lion's den. Ray was already shirtless when he opened the door. He had candles lit. The air was thick with lavender and sweat. I stepped in. I did not say a word. I dropped the dress on the floor. And I gave him everything again. He used my body like a playground. Rough. Deep. Unapologetic. But this time, he whispered things into my ear. Threats, temptations, promises. "You are mine now. I own this. All your holes. All your sounds. Every inch of you." I closed my eyes and let him take me. Because the truth was, I needed him to. I stumbled back home at midnight, sore and sorely confused. Scott was waiting for me. He was in the kitchen. His arms folded. His laptop open. A video paused. It was me. Naked. On my knees. Mouth wide open. He said nothing. Just pressed play. The sound filled the kitchen. My moans. Ray's voice. My ring shining. I gasped and fell to my knees. He did not yell. He did not hit me. He simply turned the laptop toward me and said, "So this is who you are now?" I wept. I tried to explain. But what do you say when you have been caught swallowing another man's soul? He walked upstairs, silent, calm. For 3 days, Scott did not speak to me. He did not touch me. He slept in the guest room. But he still smiled at the kids. Still packed their lunches. Still did the dishes. As if nothing had shattered. Until Sunday morning. I came downstairs to find him sitting with his phone and an envelope on the table. He slid it to me. Inside were photos. Of him. With another woman. Dozens. Hotel rooms. Airports. Smiles. He looked at me and said, "You think you are the only one who got bored?" My chest caved in. He continued, "Her name is Nicole. We started 6 months ago. She is divorced. No kids. No drama. And now that I know who you are, I can finally stop pretending." I shook. "Scott, He raised a hand. "No more words. You are free now. Free to be his whore. Because I am done being your husband." He walked out. And just like that, my world collapsed. 3 months passed. Ray vanished. No messages. No knocks. No garage door lifts. Gone. I found out later he had moved to Georgia. Quietly. Silently. Like a ghost who came to ruin my life and left when the damage was done. Scott filed for divorce. Clean. Fast. Brutal. I tried to fight for the kids. But his lawyer knew things. I do not know what Scott told him. But when I stood before the judge, my motherhood was questioned. My morality was shredded. I was given weekends. Supervised. I had been a wife. A mother. A woman with a home and a future. Now, I was a scandal. A woman who used all her holes for a stranger, and lost everything. Now, I live in a small apartment in Sugar Land. I do data entry work from home. I see my boys twice a month. They still hug me, but I see it in their eyes. They do not understand why Daddy cries when he drops them off. And I do not tell them. Because one day, they will be old enough to Google my name. Old enough to find the blogs. The rumors. The whispers. Old enough to know what I did. Sometimes, I stand in front of the mirror. Naked. I look at the parts of me that once made a man moan. That made another man rage. That made me lose my whole world. I ask myself. Was it worth it? And some nights, when I slide my fingers down and remember the way Ray filled me, I close my eyes. And whisper. Yes.